As we laid inside the shade, my heart was captured when you possessed.
Here we go.
Control now, so in the future.
They weren't just another 90s duo. They were the heartbeat of hip-hop's softer side. When everyone else was yelling, they were thinking. Pete built worlds out of old records. CL filled them with words that felt lived in. Together, they made songs that didn't shout. They breathed. But somewhere between the beats and the bars, something cracked. Credits got messy. Checks got uneven. Pride started talking louder than friendship. The same chemistry that made them timeless became the spark that burned them out. What looked like brotherhood on stage was already breaking behind the boards.
You know what I'm saying? Word up. But check this out, the new single, man, Straighten It Out. Straighten It Out.
They grew up in the same small New York town, Mount Vernon, but from different corners of it. T.R.O.Y was that kid always buried in records, the cousin carrying crates for Heavy D and the boys, already hooked on how sound could change a room. CL Smooth was the one with the kind of voice that stuck around long after he stopped talking. They crossed paths back in high school, two teenagers caught up in the same wave of block parties, dusty basements, in a tight community that treated hip-hop like it was just another neighborhood hustle. Pete knew from early on that CL sounded different, like someone who'd actually thought before speaking. That mix of Pete's crate digger brain and CL's calm, clear delivery became the heartbeat of everything they did. Pete lived for sound. Heavy D's come-up opened the door, but Pete's own obsession made him a name. He'd dig through stacks of old jazz and soul records, chasing that tiny loop that could flip a whole track. Down in his basement, surrounded by turntables, samplers, and towers of vinyl, he built beats that felt nostalgic but fresh. Warm, smooth, and full of little moments you could feel.
Took me from a boy to a man, someone I always had a father.
CL's voice just fit inside all that emotion, steady and thoughtful, like someone reading memories out loud. When most rappers were shouting over heavy drums, these two made something that felt like thinking out loud with rhythm. Their first release, All Sold Out, was small but promising, more of a soft intro than a grand debut. But it made the point. Soulful loops, sharp drums, and lyrics about real life, not flexes or street stats. Then came Mecca and the Soul Brother, the one that put them on the map.
Mecca and the Soul Brother.
They didn't chase radio trends. They just built their own lane. Every song felt like a reflection, some political, some romantic, all grounded. It was thoughtful rap that didn't feel preachy, just real.
Get the pillow when hope I don't wake him. With this man, the cuss, hear it all in verbatim. Tell him.
Then came They Reminisce Over You, T.R.O.Y, the kind of song that made everyone stop what they were doing. Built off a flip from an old Tom Scott record, it turned into both a tribute and a time capsule for their late friend, Trouble T.R.O.Y from Heavy D's crew. The horns hit like a heartbeat, and CL's words carried that mix of grief and gratitude that felt personal even if you didn't know the story. It wasn't just a rap hit, it became one of those songs people kept coming back to, the kind that outlived the era it came from. For T.R.O.Y and CL Smooth, it was the moment they proved that thoughtful music could still move people. Their next project took everything they'd built and made it richer. The production felt smoother, the bass heavier, the samples cleaner. It sounded like two artists fully in sync, locked in and effortless. Fans still talk about it as their best work together, the point where everything just made sense. But success has a way of testing any duo. Pete was suddenly everywhere, producing, remixing, getting calls from every corner of the industry. CL was the one in front of the mic, performing non-stop, living the road life. One was getting paid to create from his home setup, the other was constantly out promoting. That difference quietly stretched the gap between them. And what had once been easy started to feel off balance.
That's Noriega.
Right. Yep.
What's the problem?
Yep.
Right.
If it works, it works.
CL started feeling trapped. He'd put in the work, showed up, did the interviews, hit the road, but it seemed like the credit never matched the effort. The spotlight leaned heavier on Pete, who'd built this image as the producer everyone wanted. Pete could stay home, make beats, and stack up checks. CL didn't have that luxury. He was the one carrying the frontman weight, And over time, that imbalance started to sting. Pete always said CL was one of the best he'd ever worked with, but the connection had gotten messy. The love was there, so were the bruises. By the time their second run wrapped up, things had already started to break. They shot a Sprite ad together, smiling, sharp, the picture of unity. But not long after, it was over. Creative differences was the label-friendly excuse, but underneath were all the things duos never like to admit. Arguments over direction, money, writing credit, and time. Pete's rising fame made the partnership uneven, and CL's need for real teamwork kept getting ignored. The label wanted easy hits, chart singles, bigger tours. They wanted to make art. That clash drained them. Looking back, both of them remembered it like something rare that just couldn't last. Pete saw it as beautiful but exhausting. CL thought he was doing his part, but kept getting overlooked.
Everything is the now, and nothing's about growth and development.
What no one can argue is how special what they made was. Their songs still sound alive, and the same mix of warmth and tension that made them magic also made them break. Not every story ends with closure. Some just echo long after the track fades.
I just think he's best on his own.
Okay.
As simple as that.
When the duo finally split, it didn't end their stories. It just sent them down separate paths. Pete Rock didn't fade into old school memory. He leaned harder into what made him special: the beats. Within a few years, he turned his rep as the group's sound mastermind into his own brand. His solo project became a lineup of heavy hitters, like a hip-hop roll call. Everyone wanted to rap over his production, and they did. The whole thing felt like proof that a producer could be the star without ever touching the mic. Then came his instrumental project, a pure producer's dream. No hooks, no verses, just dusty drums, chopped jazz, and bass lines that felt familiar but new. It was him showing off, reminding everyone why his sound had aged better than most of the era's hits. From there, he kept stacking credits, working with legends, mentoring new names, blending old school soul with sharp drums that never went out of style. By the time people started writing think pieces about the golden age of hip-hop, Pete's name was locked in as one of the architects. CL Smooth's road moved slower. For a long stretch, he floated through guest features before stepping out on his own again. When he finally dropped solo work, you could feel the weight of everything that came before. The voice was still smooth, the pen still sharp, but now it carried a chip too.
Over here, dollar. Over here, dollar.
The pressure to prove he was more than half of a duo. His albums hinted at that old introspection, but they also felt like someone fighting to be seen beyond the shadow of his producer. He talked about the imbalance, the credits, the paychecks, the frustration of watching someone else get to create in peace while he kept grinding. It wasn't bitterness, it was honesty. He just wanted people to remember that the words mattered as much as the beats that carried them.
Caressed it, blessed it, even suggested you love me and I love you.
Time had a funny way of pulling them back toward each other. Every now and then, they'd pop up on the same track again. Guest verses here, short appearances there, like old sparks catching for a second. Eventually, they took it further and hit the road together. The reunion tour packed out venues and gave fans a reason to believe maybe, just maybe, they were back for real.
Y'all all together.
But don't we look at every group like that? Like, why would it be a problem?
Maybe, I don't know about now you're doing something, but
I just think he's best on his own.
There was even talk of another album, but that dream faded fast. Old wounds don't always stay healed, and whatever piece they'd found on stage didn't survive off it. Years later, Pete showed up in an interview and got emotional talking about CL. He still called him one of the most talented people he'd ever worked with, but he didn't sugarcoat the tension either. It sounded like respect mixed with regret. The kind of honesty that tells you a door isn't exactly open, but it's not fully closed either. Everyone watching already knew the truth. What they built came from real love and real conflict. And sometimes the two never stop wrestling. Even with all that distance, the music refused to fade.
Which way, that way, we can buy the bar. These days, these streets wanna see a star.
I'm Soul Brother Uno, black from the future, make beats on the table if I break my computer.
They Reminisce Over You, T.R.O.Y, wasn't just their biggest record, it was the kind of song that stopped time. Those horns hit like memories you didn't know you still had. It captured grief, love, and loyalty in a way that outlasted every era it passed through. Critics still list it among the best ever made, but fans never needed the rankings. DJs still play it, rappers still quote it, everyone still feels it. That track wasn't chasing a hit, it was documenting a feeling, and that's why it still breathes decades later. Their story never fit neatly into 2 albums and a fallout. The music became something more, proof that hip-hop could ache, could remember, could mourn. Fans never stopped hoping for one last run, one more project that brought it full circle. Every photo of them together sent people into the same spiral of wishful thinking. But as time moved on, the silence started feeling like an answer. Pete kept thriving, producing, and staying legendary behind the boards. CL stayed solid, the voice that made those beats human. In the end, they were 2 kids from Mount Vernon who changed the temperature of a genre. The same fire that made them great also tore them apart, but the sound they left behind never broke. T.R.O.Y still loops like a heartbeat that won't quit, reminding everyone of what they built, what they lost, and how sometimes the greatest stories don't end, they just keep echoing.